As we continue to celebrate 100 seasons of Chicago Bears football, we are remembering an amazing play. This one made by a guy who wasn't even on the field.
WGN's Mike Lowe catches up with the flying man in the lowdown.
Well, I'll tell you, we've seen some great plays on the field tonight, but how you're going to see something off the field that's a classic here.
Sometimes, in order to catch a big break,
he catches the ball.
You have to be willing to take a leap of faith.
There he goes, off into space.
For Rogers Park's own Mike Pantazis,
we don't want no one to try this at home,
who rose to fame when he fell out of sight,
goes all the way down the tunnel.
It all happened during a Monday night football game against the Packers on September 11th, 1995.
That night, we got to the game probably about 6:30. We were with my best friend and our wives.
His buddy had won a game-used football in a raffle, and Pantazis says he was not to be outdone.
So I tell him, Tracy, I'm going to get me a ball, and that's what led to me making this catch.
That and a 12-pack of beer.
That night, you know, had a few beers in me, and we, about the third quarter, Butler's the only one who would kick him over the nets at that time. A lot of kickers couldn't do it.
Legendary Bears place kicker Kevin Butler lined up to kick an extra point in the fourth quarter.
I kind of followed over the net, and at the end of it, I kind of saw something, but I wasn't sure what I saw.
And I make the jump, you know, land down in the tunnel. It looked a lot higher than it really was, but really it was a great catch after I seen it on the news.
15 or 20 feet.
Not as high as it looked.
It was an instant replay.
Followed the ball.
And an instant sensation. At the time, Lynn Swann, a Hall of Fame player and one of the greatest receivers in NFL history, was working as the sideline reporter.
Now we got the guy. What's your name?
Mike Pantazis. I'm from the north side of Chicago.
Lynn Swann, who was the reporter back then, came over to me and he said, "Butthead, did you see that?" I go, "What was it?" He goes, "This guy jumped off the top and caught your ball."
Swann was dispatched to the stands to find Pantazis.
And then you see me coming down the, you know, my seats because they're calling me. Lynn Swann wants an interview with me. Then, you know, security was all around me, and they said, "You got to give me the ball." And I said, "I just jumped 20 feet. I'm not giving this ball up. You're going to have to sue me."
It was undeniably reckless.
Well, Mike, you could have gotten yourself hurt jumping down like that.
I played defense, offense. I got great hands.
Yet somehow endearing. The flying fan became a shooting star with a thick Chicago accent and a Steven Seagal ponytail.
His mullet may have worked as a parachute of some type, but it was quite funny.
I liked the style. It was almost like Seagal, you know, back then. It was like how he had it, so.
For a brief moment, it was the talk of the country.
He's looking for their Oprah Winfrey show.
I went viral before anybody went viral, before the internet was around.
He appeared on late-night talk shows.
Mike Pantazis. Mike, come on up. Here we go. What were you thinking just the second before? Describe for us that decision-making process.
And even won outrageous play of the year at the ESPYs.
He did some unbelievable things, but the main thing he did was he drank enough beer to have the courage to jump and catch that ball.
Pantazis is now 53 years old and works for a pest control company in Skokie. He's the father of 3 boys, all of whom play football. He plays in a band.
Sometimes I feel like I'm the only one that feels.
So often we leap to conclusions. For Pantazis, that crazy catch was a jumping-off point, the beginning of his 15 minutes of fame that's now lasted 24 years.
God gave me this little fame and, you know, 15 minutes of fame that's lasted a long time.
At Soldier Field, Mike Lowe, WGN News.
How about Kevin Butler calling it? I think his mullet acted as a parachute.
I think it might have, with a leap like that. Something to see. I've well forgotten about that one.
Yeah.